Hi guys, I'm Charlie or Charlie Book Fanatic, and today I'm going to do my spoiler-free review for American Psycho. This book is about Patrick Bateman, who is well-educated, handsome and intelligent, and also the hugest asshole you will ever meet. Today Patrick works on Wall Street to earn a fortune to complement the one he was already born with. And his nights he spends in a less elegant way. I feel like I have to give a disclaimer for this book because this book is really gruesome and I'm not easily grossed out, or I don't easily feel physically ill while reading a book. But this one was really graphic on the violence, and I just felt like I should put it as a disclaimer. If you can't handle violence in books, or killing, or shooting, or anything like that, just killing in general, don't read this book, because it will make you ill. Moving on to the plot, I feel like this book was very much repetitive. Patrick was always going out to eat with one of his colleagues, or one of his acquaintances, or one of his, I don't even know, one of the business people in the area. He was always going out to eat, like really, always. I also feel like nothing much happened in this book, and this may sound weird because it's a really violent book, but that's really what it was all about. It was all about Patrick eating at a restaurant, and Patrick describing the clothes everyone was wearing, and name dropping and describing the food he was eating. And that was really all that happened. He brought videos back to a video store, and he borrowed videos from there, and he ate at a restaurant, and violence happened. But that was really all that happened in the book. In the beginning, when the violence started happening, which was like, I don't know, halfway through the book somewhere, like 100 somewhat pages in, I think, I actually felt physically ill. I felt like I had to throw up. I felt really uncomfortable at the beginning. Well, the violence wasn't even, it was bad, but it wasn't even as bad as it would be later on in the book. But when the violence progressed through the book, because there are a lot of violent scenes in this book, I found the violence to become kind of funny, and I really felt like this book was a satire on the upper class people, and just really felt like a dark comedy to me. And I don't know if it was meant to be that way. I think it was meant to be a thriller, but it really felt like a dark comedy to me, because eventually I was just like, this is ridiculous. Like, are you being serious right now, Bret? Really? Are you? Really? I also wrote down in my notes that I felt like the violence was starting very suddenly, and I still feel that way, because it started with some really inappropriate comments, but in the beginning of the book, Patrick was very much a normal human being. Well, normal, he was still an asshole, and he was still an upper class man, but he was normal. He hadn't had these weird thoughts or anything like that. But eventually, these weird comments popped up through the book, and the violence started like in the middle of the book somewhere. But before that, there wasn't any violence in this book. But later on, it was said that there was violence before the beginning of this book. But I just felt like it was supposed to be a surprise, the violence, but I don't. But it felt kind of sudden and not really realistic in a way. Like I said, nothing much happened in this book, but it felt very much like an exploration of a psychopath, which isn't a spoiler because American Psycho, which is taken to be quite literally. It would have been more of a character-driven book if the characters were actually fleshed out well and weren't so whiny all the damn time. The ending was a what the fuck moment for me, because I felt like it really wasn't a satisfying ending for me. I can't explain why, because that would be a spoiler, even though I don't feel like it's a spoiler, but for other people it might be. But it wasn't a satisfying ending for me. The characters, no one is actually likable in this book. Everyone is very whiny, like I said earlier, and they don't really have a personality of their own. Like, all the women in this book are basically the same woman. Like, honestly, have all the same personality, and they all act the same, which is really whiny, really upper class, and really arrogant mostly. The only woman I liked in this book was Patrick's secretary, Jean, and she was the only woman who I felt like was deserving of love and deserving of attention, and she was way less in this book than I wanted her to be. I have to say, Patrick scared the crap out of me, and I think that is the point of this book, but then it did his job well. Patrick really scared the crap out of me. He was, honestly, if I was a prostitute or an escort, and I read this book, I would quit. I know. If you read this book, then you will understand what I'm saying. I'm like, no, nope, not doing it. The character also just disappeared in this book. It was really a major character in the first 200 pages or something like that, 100, 200 pages, and he just walked off, like, I'm out of here, bitches. And to the end, he came back, like, yeah, I was away for a while, but I'm back, bitches, basically, something like that. And I felt like that was very sudden and very weird and very unnatural. The world building, if you can call it that, was pretty good actually. I feel like this was really very much a satire, because all of the name dropping, like the brands and the describing of the really upper class food. This story is playing out in New York, and it very much feels like New York, and it very much feels like the upper class, because of all the restaurants and the limos they're getting driven around in, and just the fancy food they're eating and the fancy drinks they're drinking. And yeah, the world building was pretty great in this book. But I still felt like it was too much. Like, the descriptions were just too much. There were 3 fucking pages in this book where it was described how Patrick did his hair and how he put on his lotion, and he didn't put on makeup. Almost did, but honestly, I'm glad he didn't put on makeup, because it would have been so much longer. Oh my god, I felt like I was dying. Eventually I just skipped like a whole chapter, because the whole chapter was him putting on the suit, putting on his lotion, and I was like, kill me now. After this book, I'm not sure if I find Bret Easton Ellis to be a genius or a madman. I already said it in my status update on Goodreads, but honestly, I'm not sure if I like this book or not. I'm really not sure. The writing style is great. I really love Bret's writing style. I think I want to read more by Bret. I think I really do. But I'm just not sure if this book is a masterpiece or the work of a madman. The page numbers on Goodreads said this book was like 416 pages, but why is my copy 449 pages? What the hell happened to those other 30 pages on Goodreads? Like, what? I have to say, I love the cover of this edition. Basically, the man on the front is not Patrick Bateman, at least I don't think it is supposed to be, because it's actually a picture, a half face of the writer, Bret Easton Ellis. And this I know because the same man is also on the back, like here, on another book. So I'm going for, and he's also on here, and actually he's also on here. So I'm not sure why he is on every single cover of his books, but yeah, he's basically on every one of them. I'm not sure what kind of rating to give this book, because I'm really not sure if I liked it or not. I was very critical of this book in my review just now, but I felt like I liked it. I don't know. I don't know if it's even appropriate to like a book about a psychopath who is violent and an asshole. Yeah. I don't like you, Patrick. I don't. So this is my review, guys. I hope you like my first review on this channel. I hope you will watch my other videos. Please subscribe if you like this one. Leave a comment. I love comments. Will you read American Psycho? Won't you read American Psycho? If you read American Psycho, what did you think about it? Please let me know down below. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.